Ramon Shakti. Before making my remarks, when I say Om, you say Shakti. Om.
Shakti!
Om.
Shakti!
Om.
Shakti!
Yes. That's the kind of energy of the break when you come to such a source of spiritual energy. So I'm going to begin by saying Ramon Shakti. It is always a pleasure and honor to be here among all of you. And indeed, just like how when a battery is charged, it operates, it functions, it does what it has to do. In the same way, the Sri Mahakali Mandir is like. Every time you come to this mandir, you might get a little drained, you might have undergone some very painful things throughout the week. You might have had some downfalls. Things may not have come your way. But when you come to this temple and you take the darshan of the various devis and devatas in this temple, your life becomes energized. Miracles happen in your life. That is the power of this temple. That is the energy that can be found in this temple. Pujari requested that I speak about Kanya Kumari Puja. So to begin that portion of my remarks, many people go searching for the Divine Mother. Many people look into books thinking that they will find the Divine Mother. Many people go to the temple thinking that they will find the Divine Mother. Even some venture all the way on a plane to India to find the Divine Mother. But did you know the Divine Devi can be found closer than you think? The Divine Devi might be right in front of your eyes, but little do you see where she is found. The Supreme Goddess, who is adored by all the gods, is found where, my friends? She is found in the heart of a girl child. That is why in Hindu spirituality, in the Kumari Puja, we worship virgin girls aged 2 to 10 as the Supreme Goddess. Girls from the ages of 2 to 10 are selected for a puja called the Kumari Puja. But there are some requirements, and there are a few things you need to understand about this puja. In the same way, if you were to go online and you find some kind of recipe, you want to make a little meal, there are certain steps, there are certain ingredients that are required. And if you follow those instructions, you get the ingredients and you follow the various instructions, you'll get that desired food that you want. In the same way, if you follow the steps and the requirements of Kumari Puja, you will get the desired results of that puja. When it comes to the requirements of that puja, 9 girls must be worshipped. But who is qualified to be worshipped in the context of this puja? It's a little controversial for me to say this, but according to the rules and regulations of Kumari Puja, it can only be a girl from the ages of 2 to 10. That girl must be free, her body must be free of disease. She must not be disabled. And indeed, she must have not gone through the process of menstruation. And you ask me why? Why is that the case? That is the case because a little girl represents the purity that we see in the Divine Deity. Represents purity in the highest sense. And if you think about something very in-depth as well, a little girl, she doesn't discriminate against anyone. She loves everyone, regardless if you're black, you're white, regardless of the skin color you hold. A little child doesn't discriminate against anyone, but the love found in the child of a girl
Is pure.
is pure, and indeed, it is the closest love that we see in this world to the Divine Mother. Sometimes a girl child will love you more than your own blood parents, even if you're the only child they have. This is the world that we're living in. So there are a few requirements as such in this Kumari Puja. But what are the steps of this puja? 9 girls have to be selected. Either you can worship over the course of the Navratri. One day you can worship a single girl. Or alternatively, you may worship all 9 girls on the Ashtami, on the 8th day of the Navratri. But each little girl represents a little bit something different. And it all depends on what you want. What is the purpose of the Kumari Puja? If the purpose of the puja is to attain peace and to attain prosperity, ideally you want to worship girls that are 2 years old. If the purpose of the puja is to attain moksha, you want to be free from this cycle of life and death, you want to be strengthened, you're frail, your body is frail, and you want the blessings to be a strong person, to stand and walk with a vigor. You worship a girl that is 3 years old. And for those who are undergoing sicknesses that impede their functions, that impede their mind, they must worship a girl that is 5 years old, ideally. Because the girl that is 5-year-old represents Rohini Devi, a goddess, and that form is associated with all the various ailments and sicknesses. So there's a few things you need to keep in mind. But more generally speaking, what are the benefits of Kumari Puja? The benefits of Kumari Puja are the removal of all enemies. If you're living right now and there are people impeding your progress in life, if there are individuals who are using certain aspects of spiritual works against you, or as we like to say, working obi on you, the power of that puja can stop the force of those negative entities. It provides you in essence with a shield, a spiritual shield from these energies. The enemy changes their mind because the enemy no longer wants to strike you. This is how powerful this Kumari Puja is. Also, generally speaking, when it comes to the Kumari Puja, most people do it because they're in a state of poverty. And in most of the examples, there was a poor individual who's constantly in poverty. They're working, and money isn't staying in their hands. But when they do this puja, it frees them from the state of poverty. It frees their way so they can accumulate wealth, they can save wealth, and that their wealth may always have bearing, that they must always have baraka. So those are some of the benefits of this Kumari Puja. And now this turns to, or I will turn to, a little story that speaks to the Kumari Puja, the power of this puja, and the divine deity. There was once a devotee. He used to go to the temple, but there was an issue. When he opened up his kitchen cabinet, there was no food. When he opened up his fridge, there was no food. He went all over the place looking for work, and he kept being denied. He barely got enough, one meal a day. This is how poor he was. But while he was poor, when it came to wealth, he was rich when it came to love of the divine deity. And he loved the Divine Mother so much. Even though he was going through his struggles, even though things weren't going right, he would go to the temple and he would pray. And one day he was informed, someone informed him that if he performs the Kumari Puja during the time of the Navratri, all the poverty, all of that will be removed. And everything in his life will come along well. So he decided to do the Kumari Puja. He goes to the priest of the temple and he tells the priest that Navratri is coming. I would like to perform Kumari Puja. So the priest goes and he sets a date. He sets a date that the 8th day of the Navratri he will perform the Kumari Puja. But something happens to this young devotee. When he goes to the priest and he tells the priest, I'm going to perform Kumari Puja, the devotees of the temple hear him. And the first thing that they do is they mock him, they insult him. They tell him, you're a poor man. How can you afford to do Kumari Puja? What a fool you are. In the house of the Divine Mother, he sits, he stands, he wants to perform the worship of the Divine Mother. And yet in the house of the Divine Mother where there should be no discrimination, look at how it's being discriminated today. Look how people are hurting his feelings today. But he believes in the Divine Mother. He believes that he will be able to perform the Kumari Puja, despite what the devotees in the temple tell him. When it comes to the money that's required for the puja, something happens. All of a sudden, something happens to his benefit. He gets a job. He gets the exact amount required to perform this puja. So now he has the money required to do this puja. But will he prevail? Or will there be further obstacles in his way? On the 8th day of the Navratri, there are 8 little girls present in the temple for him to do the Kumari Puja. But he is missing one girl. He needs one more girl to perform this puja. But there's no one else available. But being a believer in the Divine Mother, he says he will start this puja, and he says that Mom will find a way for him. I want to tell you today, my friends, no matter how hard things seem in your life today, if you believe in the Divine Mother, Mom will find a way for you as well. He begins the puja of the first Kumari. He bathes the foot of the little girl. He ties a red thread on the little girl, or as we call more formally the moli. He feeds the little girl sweet rice. He sprays perfume on the little girl. He artis her and offers her various gifts, such as saris and bangles and other ornaments. He does the same for the second girl, the third, the fourth, the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. But as he goes to perform the worship of the 8th little girl, he is thinking, where will I find the 9th little girl? Where will that little girl be? How can I finish my puja? I need 9 little girls and I only have 8. So as he is finishing the arati of the 8th Kumari, he sees no little girl available to do his puja. But he doesn't give up in the Divine Mother. He closes his eyes and he meditates on the Divine Mother. He closes his eyes, he shuts himself off from the world. He meditates on the image of the Divine Mother and he says, Oh Mom, everyone in this temple today thinks I'm a fool that I wanted to do Kumari Puja. Everyone today mocks me because I don't have wealth, because I can't afford a meal, one simple meal. But oh Devi, oh Divine Mother, how great you are, how powerful you are, how many devotees you have helped throughout the world. I surrender myself to you, O Mom, and I know you will find a way for me. So he closes his eyes and he prays. And as he's praying and praying, people in the temple are laughing. People in the temple are making comments about him. But he doesn't hear a single bit of it. He's focused in his meditation, praying and praying. But something happens in the story. Little footsteps he hears. Little footsteps walk over to the area where the Kumari Puja is being performed. And this little girl has never been seen before. They look around trying to figure out who this little girl is. And they can't figure out whose daughter this little girl is. But as they look at the little girl, she has a shine to her. She has a glow to her. A glow that attracts. A glow that can infatuate. So this little girl goes to the area where the Kumari Puja is, and she raises her hand up and she says, I'm gonna be next. So this devotee opens his eyes and he smiles. He goes to perform the worship of the nine Kumari. He gives the nine Kumari sweet rice, he does all the rites, all the tilak and everything. And as he goes to Arti, this last Kumari to fulfill the puja, when he looks at the image of this child, he wants to know if his eyes are deceiving him. Because everyone sees a little girl that shines, but as he looks at the image of this little girl, he sees the Divine Mother in a little form. The Divine Mother came to save him so that he could perform his puja. But what does this tell us, my friends? What is the lesson of this story? It's a very simple lesson. The Divine Mother, who is overflowing with blessings, can bless you. But what do you have to do, my friends? What do you need to do so you can attain the blessings of the Divine Mother? You need to reach your hands as high as you can and get these blessings. You need to believe to the point where people will think you're crazy to get those blessings. This divine lady that sits here, if you work towards attaining her blessings, you put in the work genuinely, every single day you believe in her. You do the work that is required to attain her blessings. This divine Devi rewards that. This divine Devi doesn't reward mediocrity. She doesn't reward if you try one day at something you fail and give up. But if you believe, if you're determined, and if you constantly try, this universal mother will always reward you. Everything that you want, everything that you desire, everything that people tell you you can never get, she can put it in your hands. But you have to do the work. Pujari always emphasizes the message you have to make a sacrifice that is required. And I want to tell you today, the sacrifice won't be easy. The sacrifice, many times you'll be in worship, many times you'll be in devotion, many times you'll be trying and trying at a certain goal, whatever you're trying to attain, and things are not going right. You pray to the mother. Sometimes you might even go for a manifestation and mom will tell you you will get. But there will be moments, there will be setbacks, and you'll question what is happening. But it is in those moments you need to strengthen your belief. You need to have the belief in the Divine Mother. You must always say, if you get a simple setback, it's okay. Ma has a different road for me, and I will take that road. This road doesn't lead to what I want, but another road will open up, and I will get exactly what I want. This Divine Mother works in so many miraculous ways. You know, one time I was doing devotion. One time. About a year ago, I was doing a little devotion every morning. A very, very simple devotion. And every morning I included this part in my devotion. And you know, for the period of time I began doing that devotion, you should see the amount of things that occurred. The amount of negative things that occurred. People would insult me, people would tell me this. The amount of negative interactions that have arisen. I still did the devotion. But you know how I did it? I did it blindly. I still did it. I did it every day. Constantly. And things seemed, in my perspective, things were getting worse and worse and worse. Things were getting more worse. There were more insults, there were more negative interactions with people. But I still worship. I still did the devotion. I said whatever. People can tell me whatever, I still do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I had faith in the Divine Mother. And I did it blindly. In the world that we live in today, if you love someone blindly, you end up getting hurt. Divine Mother blindly, that will be the case. You love her blindly, she will reward you. You love her blindly, she will allow you to stand in places people never expected you to be. This Divine Mother sits on a lion or a tiger, depending on her form. But that represents something a little bit different. It represents that you may sit in places of authority. That Divine Mother can put you in places people think you'll never get to. This is how powerful the Divine Mother is. And indeed, with the guidance of Pujari, with the guidance of the Divine Mother, and others as well, I have been so blessed in my own life to experience the power of this Divine Mother. And I can tell you from a personal level how powerful this deity works. There's been so many moments in my life in the past few years. I was like, what happened? What is really happening? If I'm doing worship, if I'm performing worship, what's really going on? And in the moment, things were hard. Things were tough. In the moment for you, in your worship, things will be tough. People will insult you at once in time. People will hurt you. People will leave your life. But if you continue with the road of the Divine Mother, one day you will cross the finish line. And one day you might even come in this temple and you might say, Mom, I believe and I believe. And that day came where you delivered. Principal Makalimata Ki